This is the RPM Podcast, starring Eric Brennan,
No matter how much you wiggle and dance, the last few drops always land in your pants.
Sam Ballard Jr.,
I can barely last half an hour.
Neil Rutt III,
I'm a motherfucking dwarf.
Nick Rendo,
Luigi follow on with the Ferraris.
and Josh Matthews.
I learned that 57 is an even number.
It's like so just out of nowhere, and it's like funny.
Oh, that's fire.
I need that as my ringtone.
That is fire. Oh, my goodness. Producer Josh coming in clutch with the new intro. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Alcoholics Anonymous edition of the RPM Podcast. I'm Eric Brennan. Producer Josh sitting right across from me. So, well, we had Gamblers Anonymous a couple weeks ago. Neil Rutt III and Sam Ballard Jr. from UNCC. What's up, Sam?
Hey guys,
How are you?
I'm doing lovely. You guys sound like crap right now.
So it's okay. It's a work in progress. We're getting there. It'll happen. It'll get better. Working
Anyway.
on the fly. So fresh off of Talladega weekend, which usually gives us plenty of things to talk about, and Sam, you and I actually had the privilege of watching the end of the Cup race, all 14
At a bar
cars.
with Eric Brennan
Yes.
Oh, no.
At Lancaster.
You poor soul.
in Lancaster. Yeah,
You
No,
say everything wrong.
Lancasters, isn't that it?
no, it's Lancaster.
You got me nervous. Thought I was saying it wrong. The end of that race was kind of odd, but from what I gather and from what I read and from the video highlights, the whole race was kind of odd. And I really like to point out that JeffGluck.com and Jeff Gluck himself, he does a really good job kind of condensing the major talking points. And despite the carnage, it sounds like the overall conjecture is that the race itself was really good. From what I saw, the finish, again, only 14 cars winning at the end. I think seven in total were on the lead lap. It was okay, but for Talladega standards, it's not what you expect. It actually, somebody made a reference that it looked like the original Busch Clash field with the amount of cars.
It looked
that were
like a
running
heat
at the end.
race.
Yeah, that was like a Wall Stadium heat race.
It was bizarre. But nevertheless, Brad Keselowski ended up on top. And Sam, the first thing you said to me when Keselowski took the checkered flag, and this may be the one and only time that you and Neil agree on something, you said, Neil's right. Brad does know what he's doing on these things. And, I mean, holy crap, he pulled it off.
You know, with all due respect, that's like Neil saying the sky's freaking blue. Okay, I mean, he's not really
Never right.
going out on a limb here and saying, "Hey, you know, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to win the final race in Talladega." I mean, who the freak thought that?
And it looked as though he had a shot. And I mean, I'm sitting there, and I
He
wasn't.
did. He
I
had
wish I bet money on it.
amazing luck getting
Yes.
through those wrecks.
He was my pick.
Yeah, he was my pick going in, like the week
But
advance.
Neil, that really did happen. As soon as the race ended, he said, "Man, Neil's right." Keselowski
Exactly.
really is. And I mean, let's look at it for what it is. I mean, that's Keselowski's 5th win at Talladega. You know, I think 6th on a plate track because he won the July race Daytona not that long ago. And one of the big things that sticks out for me in terms of Brad and his plate racing prowess, I should say, was the 2012 race where the mantra of plate racing developed where you did not want to be the leader. Because if you were a leader, you were sitting duck. I mean, there's the video of Harvick passing McMurray and all these other. It's like if you were leading on the white flag, you were not coming back around as the winner. And in 2012, in the spring race, Keselowski had the lead. Kyle Busch was chasing him. And Brad brought the two, because they were basically a tandem, into turn number 3 on the high side, then cut down low to get off his bumper, and then just drove away to the win. And that was the first time that I really thought, this guy gets the way that the air works in these cars. And
I don't know why I did that.
me either. And from that,
Hey, sports fans, welcome back to Wendy's.
Yeah, Wendy's!
Matchups of the week. Here's a look at the showdowns that are as
I have no idea what is happening here. Look at sponsor. I gotta watch this over. Sam, your face is priceless.
Thanks.
I'm bright red. I was trying to get to one thing.
I'm sitting here
and
watching. I'm like, what is Josh doing? Okay.
I was trying to bring up one thing, and then I wanted to pause it, and it jumped and like automatically opened like 2 other videos.
Wendy's.
Oh my god!
of all the things in the world the internet has to offer, the fact that was the video, we're not doing so bad. Like we did okay. But nevertheless, Keselowski's earned himself a very good reputation as a solid plate racer. Mainly because of the fact that he was Junior's protege in terms of coming up through the ranks.
And mainly because he looks like a horse.
That's true. He knows how to lead the pack.
Beavis and Butthead.
But another item that a lot of people are overlooking is the fact that Ford essentially swept and dominated the 4 plate races on the year. So my question to you guys is, at what point of competition does the plate racing success type of really kind of spell out the nature of competition for like the 4 teams?
Wait, what?
So in other words, do having
like you're
so
talking
much,
about like aero packages,
right? Like having and also horsepower, I guess as well. Is having so much success on the plate tracks, is that a good barometer in terms of the competitive nature of a racing organization or manufacturer?
No, it's horrible.
No.
Is it more coincidence to the fact that Ford, which was 3 teams, it was 3 different teams, Penske, Stewart-Haas, and Roush, that ended up winning the 4 plate races, Roush twice with Stenhouse at Talladega and Daytona. Does that really have any correlation to the competitive nature in terms of either speed or balance or horsepower, or is it sheer luck? Is it all luck?
It is all luck.
The whole thing.
It is.
Yeah. All right. Outside of if you happen to do like a single car qualifying run, horsepower can play into it because to get up front to start. But where you finish, I mean, you see cars with as damaged as, let's say, Bristol, and they're still running right up at the front of the pack. It's because of the draft. It's a different animal.
I think
it's exciting.
Like Trevor Bayne. Again, Jeff Gluck said that Trevor Bayne, who finished 3rd in that race, appeared on the crash report twice. I mean, you had so many different cars involved in accidents, and they were able to rebound from that. Earnhardt Jr. was another one who was involved in a couple of incidents throughout the day.
I don't know about involved. He skated by.
There was the one crash when the guy went. I forget who it was. Went right across his nose.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't slam. I think it was Kevin Harvick that went right through his right past his nose.
But in terms of the manufacturer dominance, it was one point in the race on Sunday where Ford's inherited like the entire top 10.
Yes.
Okay. All right. To end this conversation, because I don't want to be talking about Ford's success for the rest of it. Ford has made huge improvements since last season. Do I think it's Ford? No. But do I think it's Stewart-Haas? Heck yeah.
So it's funny you mentioned Stewart-Haas because I have a question for our racers on the panel, which is everybody but me. We saw the outburst with Clint Bowyer on his crew chief. Now, what ended up happening was there was a miscommunication on a pit stop, which put Clint Bowyer in the back. Okay. And then, lo and behold, it was Cole Witt and somebody else who ended up finding a way to wreck on a restart at Talladega, which is the slowest restart you'll ever have on the widest and biggest track that you will ever have, and they still found a way to wreck.
It was just a sportsman restart. That's all it was.
Essentially. Bowyer got caught up in it, and then when he was done, he came out and started screaming at the crew chief. Now, from what I gather from the little bit of radioactive coverage, Josh, I know you're a big fan of that came out, was that Bowyer was blasting the pit crew, saying we shouldn't have been back there in the first place. The crew chief came to the pit crew's defense and said, you know what, driver, you've cost us a couple this year too. And Bowyer said, I don't want to hear that sugar, picking a different word.
Well, they were trying to get him to calm down and shut up as well. I from that exchange.
Yeah. And that kind of confrontation continued on pit road, and I'm curious, did Bowyer cross a line? Did the crew chief cross a line? Was it the crew chief's right to defend his pit crew? Was it the crew chief's right to, maybe defend Bowyer over the pit crew? It was something that caught a lot of attention over the weekend.
Sorry.
I was going to answer.
I saw him.
Okay. Well, you didn't acknowledge me.
He saw the high five and he was like, "Where's mine?"
You're lucky my eyes are still open. I don't know what day it is anymore.
Okay. I think I think Bowyer crossed the line.
I agree with you.
It's that I'm not saying he can't be upset, but you can't talk like that to your crew chief. It's like talking.
Not even your whole crew chief, just your whole team.
It's talking back to your parents, and I'm guilty of it. I've made a lot of dumbass, decisions in my life.
You just can't go after your whole team.
Yeah,
especially at that level because like on a normal short track, you can grab a couple guys that you're friends with. You got guys that that's their life. They work for you for a living. They're not like any short track guy. It's like, oh hey, I don't want to come this week. I want to go go to a party. It's not like that. You can't treat those guys like garbage. You got to treat them like it's a job. because it is a job for them.
The biggest parallel I could draw to
Stop
the
shaking your head.
situation was with Kevin Harvick last year when he publicly called out the pit crew for the mistakes they were making on pit road. And that was a well-publicized issue because of the fact
I
that
think
Harvick
he
was
was-
constantly losing races because of the fact he would be slowest in the final pit stop.
Okay, when it was a consistent thing, and he did it with, I'm going to say more class than Boyer did.
Right.
At the very least, I think we.
At least to the naked eye.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't. It was still a public calling out. You know, it was still a you know.
Yeah, and that was out of frustration, but I
Right.
think he said it much more calmly. It wasn't like you saw the video, Boyer jumping out of the car and getting up and yelling at, the crew chief.
Mm-hmm.
That was animated. That was heat of the moment. Yeah, but I think that was too much. Whereas what Harvick said was calmer. It was I don't know, and it wasn't one incident. It wasn't one race that it happened in. He'd had a problem several times where the pit crew was costing him, and
He's always been known to explode like that. Even when he ran the 07, when he ran the 15,
The 15 was a
33
big
and
deal.
everything. Yeah, well, that was horrible.
Yeah, it seemed to be taxing on Boyer for the most part, but when you inline it with that of Harvick, and also before I forget, since we're on the topic of conversation of pit crew, NASCAR actually appears to, although nothing has been made official yet, seems to be leaning towards trying to mandate a certain type of manufacturer and brand pit gun. That was the hot story for Joe Gibbs Racing over the last couple of years, is that they invested all this money on a different type of impact wrench, which allowed them to pick up all their time and speed. Sam, I see you cracking up.
Well, there goes their advantage.
And that's my question, really. Is this something which needs to be done to try to stop the bleeding in terms of the investment and cost and everything? Or is this NASCAR kind of sticking their nose where it doesn't really belong? And Sam, since you were the first with your hand up, I will go to you.
First off, freak you guys for putting down Clint Boyer. Clint Boyer is more and more each race weekend making me want him as a driver in the sport. He has personality. He has balls.
I never said I didn't like him.
It's just we need more Clint Boyers in the sport right now.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
We
I'm
need
saying
more Clint Boyers in the sport.
No,
and
we need
he
Ryan
has-
Newman.
I like Ryan Newman too.
Just a little bit smaller.
I think Jeff Gordon disagrees with you, Neil.
Yeah, exactly. But we just need little smaller Ryan Newmans.
But anyway, to go back to your lug nut gun question
Your nuts.
thing.
Let's go back to your nuts.
Yeah, because they come so quickly. Eric, I don't think this is a. I think this is a big deal
You better not do that next year.
because of sponsorship reasons, especially with Joe Gibbs and stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, though, you're going to want the best pit crew, whether they can perform with your high performance techno $5,000 air gun or your Morgan. Oh, I'm sorry, Josh.
Oh, there goes one of George Collins' 7:30 words.
You can check the time now there. Or your crappy Morgan Shepherd air gun. I think that it involves more of having the best guy. So this is like the IROC of pit crews.
IROC.
I like it. I like it. Sorry
I
for-
was going to say they should go back to tire irons. See him get down and start spit.
Gotta go the old-fashioned way.
But now wait a second. I think the pretty much the entire NASCAR fan base has to be against this because it's gun regulation.
Yeah, pretty much.
What?
We need
NASCAR-
torque, we need
the
torque
NASCAR
wrenches
fans
on
don't
pit
care
road.
anymore.
900, let's go.
Well, let's see if it actually does play a role in terms. See, the way that I see it is, if teams want to get involved in trying to find different ways to find an edge. I mean, think back to about 10 years ago. I would have never thought that a professional Sprint Cup organization or a Monster Energy Cup organization would have invested time and money into trying to figure out a way to make their air guns faster.
That's
Why
because
not?
they took away from them being able to invest it in their cars.
Right. So it's they
So
try
they have
find-
to find their advantage, you
But
know?
considering the fact that a lot of these teams and a lot of people who run these teams are a lot smarter than I am, as if that's not obvious enough, I would imagine that they're just going to take that budget and push it towards some other avenue to try to make up more time, money, and competitive advantage. I mean, I understand NASCAR feeling a need to try to mandate and regulate some of this stuff because of the fact that it is getting a little bit out of hand.
They pick some of the weirdest stuff sometimes.
But this
now,
seems
next
this
year they
almost
have to
seems
go
like
to steel jacks, no aluminum.
Oh, yeah.
You know what, Josh,
Three
you're
pumps.
100%
Three
correct
pumps.
because because they're worried about the guns, but they're okay with putting pancake syrup all over the racetrack and telling them to go out and race it.
Right.
I don't understand.
It's almost like an oxymoron to some extent. It's like
No, it's more of a bunch of morons, not an oxymoron.
now back to the actual Talladega race weekend itself and the Earnhardt Jr. storyline. Now, first of all, the fact that the fans were rallied behind him so much, and one of the main reasons being that is that the Alabama governor actually dubbed it Dale Earnhardt Jr. Day in the state of Alabama.
And he got his dad's car, which was pretty cool.
And one other thing I want to point out, and we haven't talked about the truck race yet, the crowd Sunday had to be 75% larger than the crowd Saturday. And that surprised me. The crowd looked relatively weak for the truck race Saturday. Yeah. And it looked like they almost sold out on Sunday. The amount of people that were there and responsive and reactive to everything that Earnhardt Jr. was doing, they were very receptive to Brad winning.
It was definitely a good crowd.
So, I mean, that was cool to see for sure.
It's because he won in the Dale Earnhardt Jr. tribute car, which was just a white car.
Yes, in tribute to the U.S. Navy vehicle that Brad drove in 2008.
Like it, really.
I don't think it did either.
It just was a white car.
Sam's in the business of designing the vehicles as well for sport.
Painting.
Yes.
Well, no, I do. I design. I don't paint.
Okay.
There you go.
I finger paint with. Never mind.
But in terms of the Junior storyline, he was kind of X.
He was
kind
of asked.
So X, ASKED, not AXED. This is your Benny Hooked on Phonics.
Could you go back to your side of the bridge, please?
So no, I like it over here.
He's trying to move here.
Stop building walls, Josh.
He was asked afterwards about his overall thoughts, and one of the things that Junior said that struck a chord with a lot of people was he said he was happy to leave Talladega with his health intact, and that made a lot of people realize, you know what, maybe Junior's a lot more vulnerable or maybe even susceptible to another concussion than we all come to realize.
That's because he has a baby girl to come home to later in a few months.
Yeah, that was news that broke following the Talladega weekend. Is that he's got a little girl on the way along with his wife Amy.
Womp womp.
Coming up at 10, Dale Jr. pops his it. I mean, seriously, come on.
And the crowd goes crazy.
I mean, can you imagine?
Junior!
Can you imagine if this?
Pee on me, Junior.
So now let's go. Let's just something that just popped into my head. Right?
Wait, why did Sam go all R. Kelly all of a sudden?
He's been that way for weeks. Let's go off topic for a minute. Let's just pretend that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is having a boy. Does he let his son become a race car driver? Now, we're living in an era and a generation right now where a lot of parents are preventing their kids from playing football because of the fear of repetitive concussions.
That's because football's... never mind.
Football sucks.
But the same is starting to bleed over into the world of motor racing, where if kids have multiple concussions, the parents are starting to elect to perhaps try to steer them into something else. So if you're Dale Earnhardt Jr. and you've been through what you've been through, or even if you're not and you're looking at it from afar like we legitimately are, if Dale Earnhardt Jr. was to have a son, and even though he may not be having one by May,
why is it got to be sexist? Why couldn't he do it?
I got to go gender.
Well, okay. I mean, we can go the female route too.
Because Eric keeps his females and his racing separate.
Sam's gonna pull up a quote from a year,
That's an old
year
one.
and a third ago. My God, I can't breathe.
I'm the white R. Kelly. It's okay.
Do you think Earnhardt Jr., who does have a business still to run, he still is going to run JR Motorsports for throughout the duration of his career. In fact, he's going to run 2 Xfinity races for JR Motorsports next year. Do you think he would be on board with having one of his own, children, that is, being a race car driver? So, well, why?
Because he himself has been obviously incredibly intimately involved with the safety advances that have happened from his father, going to the safer barriers and the Hans and all these other things, from him experiencing all the concussions or whatever. He's seen the evolution of it, and it is getting safer and safer. It doesn't mean that it's foolproof, but I think that if nothing else, he might even feel pressured into it. Like, oh, we got to see what the kid can do, because I mean, I have seen on a personal level a lot of families. Paul Hartwig, Jr. Well, that is a racing family, and now Paulie is running the karts, or the quarter midgets. Neil, you come from a racing family. I've seen the Wolcotts, the Riggleman family. They're all involved in. I mean, I think that they would stay in it.
I think it could be a different form of racing. Like I could see, Dale Jr.'s daughter racing, sports cars or something like that. Maybe he'd be okay with that because it's a little more safer.
It'd be different.
Stock car racing.
I just, I don't think that he would say, oh no. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily the rock star life that some.
Well,
of
I
us
think he
it might
said
be.
in an interview, like, it's up to my kid. My kid
Yeah.
decides what they want to do.
Yeah, if they want mango juice as their brain, then it's okay. Go ahead, go race.
But here's the thing. Honestly,
Why
I will
not?
say, I don't.
I would race. I would race. I mean, I would risk the fact of getting concussion. You can hit me upside the head all you want. I want to get in a race car.
I'm just saying that I think.
So I've been lucky to not have one.
Well, I mean, we talked to Joey Bailey when he was on the show after he had his most recent is the key word, concussion in his big wreck at Wall. And I said, we asked him, Joey, like, is there ever a point where you think maybe enough's enough? Like, it's time to stop risking this. And he said, no. He said, I'm going to keep driving. And
That's because Joey Bailey is a wheel man, and what he does at college stays at college.
Yeah, look, I don't want to get all morbid here. And that was funny, but no, there's something else, and this is very this is going to hit home for a lot of people,
Sam's
especially
dying
at Wall.
over there.
I'm just going to mute Sam here.
Don't worry, he did it for you.
But seriously, what about Jimmy Blewett after the death of his brother? I mean, he's still racing. That's something.
You took some time off and then you come back.
Exactly. So, but he's able to go back into it. Why wouldn't you support your kid if they wanted to do it?
that's where, like, I look at it. Where
I'm not saying I would freak out. I'm not gonna lie. My son if he wants to race, I'll support it. But at the same time, yeah, I'm gonna worry. I'm gonna be a parent about it. But
I mean, look at Ryan Newman wrecking his own mother every race, and he keeps coming back for more. I mean, come on.
More so on a serious, like, that's one item where, like, I honestly believe that I don't know if I would be able to. I don't know. I mean,
Why,
'cause that's
why
the
are we
thing.
getting so serious?
Yeah, we are.
I don't know.
I thought the Joey Bailey college joke would kind of break it all, but y'all want to
anyway.
keep talking about negative crap.
Sam, who was your pick for Talladega?
It was Dale Jr. Mango
I had Brad.
salsa himself.
Who'd you have?
I had Brad. Even though I'm not in your pick thing,
Okay.
but I had
Eric?
Brad off the bat.
I took Trevor Bayne, who got third. I got lucky on that one. And old lady Brennan took Ty Dillon, who ended up finishing 11th.
Oh God,
Eric Brennan, I met a really nice person down in Lancaster with Ty Dillon's pit crew.
Yes, her son. She was a sweetheart. Even though, I have to be honest, if you've ever been to Mooresville, North Carolina, and Lancaster's is a barbecue spot, which has amazing
That
food.
looks amazing. I want
And,
to go.
and the decor there is incredible. They need to modernize. They need more TVs. You should not be able to sit anywhere in that place and not see the race if you're going there to watch the race. They had the race on like two small TVs, one of them in the bar, and the bar area is like buried, like where you can't see the backside of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one was like on this little TV that's in like a bus that's parked in the middle of the restaurant with like boots in it. So if you're listening and you are part of management at Lancaster's, I can help you. I work for a company that does this stuff. We need to add more TVs. So
Anyway, Josh, who was your pick?
Again, we had that. Menards, sponsor us.
Yeah.
The Menards caution clock.
Yeah.
yes,
But there you go. As has been
You had Menard?
most of the week. Yeah. It's part of our group text. I said, if you want to know who I picked, look who goes on the wall first.
You want to know what the fun part about this? When I was in Charlotte Motor Speedway, I saw Ryan Newman crash, and not even 2 minutes after Ryan Newman got out of the car, I get a text from Josh Matthews and says, "Look, my pick's on the wall."
Now, before we shift gears to something that happened at Charlotte Motor Speedway, I do want to point out the truck race on Saturday, where it was also, second verse, same as the first. There was a ton of wrecks in the truck race.
Yeah.
But the biggest story was Parker Kligerman, driving for Henderson Motorsports, who hasn't won in NASCAR since 1989,
Ooh.
ended up getting the win in the number 75 truck, made famous by Caleb Holman over the last couple of years.
What
after
year
he
were
got
you
the pole
born?
at Daytona, 1990. Yeah, and I'm old.
Wow.
I wasn't born.
Yeah, I'm one of the older guys of the group, and that's pretty wild. For Kligerman, who has been diving or dipping his feet into the television portion of the NASCAR programming, to see him find success at Talladega again for the second time since 2012 is kind of cool to see. Good representative for that series and that division, but they tore up so much stuff. It was unbelievable.
No, I don't know why some of the teams even bothered going.
But nevertheless, I mean, the race itself seemed rather exciting. Sam, you got.
I'm still annoyed at the cable cam because that thing is way too shaky and is. Way
It was
too
horrible
slow.
at Talladega.
It was terrible. It was absolutely.
On TV. It was horrible.
Yeah,
That's why I don't watch the races anymore. You just turn on my friend Buddy Long, and he does a great job reporting it.
Well, Sam, we were kind of busy this weekend. That's the reason, the fact that we couldn't really watch it. So
Yeah, some of us had to work, I guess.
although as soon as
I worked. I was at Wall.
as soon as my day ended, I had the race on my phone, and I was just begging for everybody to leave so I can go watch the end at Lancaster's, but that was good nevertheless. Charlotte Motor Speedway this past week, they actually began testing on what should be the final version of what they are calling the Roval, which, you know, if you're not familiar
I love
with
it.
There was
it's
a
road
different track
course
that
and
was
an
called the
oval.
Roval a while.
That Pocono's nickname.
No,
before it was
no.
Tricky Triangle, they would call it a Roval.
No, there was another track. I remember they had the rumble strips were blue and white, not red and white like you would normally see. I'm trying to remember what track it was.
I like the blue and white.
I know Carter Indy raced there for a while. I'll have to look it up. But that was a Roval because it was more of a trapezoid.
Mm-hmm.
We need like a Nazareth track back.
Nazareth with a little bit better banking.
Yeah, like
That's
a
what
Wall
I-
Stadium banking.
Yes.
That would be
Oh my
That'd be
god.
awesome.
That would
But
be
the
great.
Roval itself, it has drawn a lot of criticism. First being the fact that Charlotte Motor Speedway put out a press release that said that the race itself would be 500 kilometers, which would equal 130 laps. Which,
That's a long race.
Which
They said
is
kilometers.
about 40 laps longer than the longest race of
Yeah,
the
but
year
it's
on a
short.
road course.
It's not a 2-mile road course. It's like
It is
a little over a mile.
I think it's I don't know the exact length of it.
And
Why
they're getting
did- why
quick,
did
they're
they-
faster because the banking. So
Yeah.
they're going way faster than like Watkins Glen and Sonoma.
Mm-hmm.
They got
So
at
the
least
definition of a roval is a combination of a rectangle and an oval, or rectangle with round edges.
Yeah, so they should not call us a Roval.
I failed geometry, so I don't know what is I have no idea what is happening right now.
Anyway, also,
I'm just interested. I think it's gonna be awesome
I don't know.
with
I saw-
hopefully 40 cars out there, not 28.
I
saw
mean,
a
it can't
negative.
suck as bad as the Cup race this past weekend. So
I don't think Talladega was that bad, but
I don't.
the one thing I like about the whole Roval concept is that NASCAR and ISC and SMI, they're all in favor of trying something different.
I'll give you that. However, I'm going to quote one of the Facebook comments I saw that, somebody who did not like what they saw. There's no passing zones.
I think there's a couple. I mean, the hard braking zone, the inner loop, when you come right before the start-finish line.
If you
the
get off
little
those
hairpin.
chicanes quick enough, you can get a banking pass.
you know, if Robbie Gordon saw this, he'd say, "What are you talking about? There are a bunch of passing zones."
Yeah, well, because
Robbie
him, the
Gordon would
the
also
grass
go through the
counts.
dirt.
Yes.
Why not?
That's
Like
what
we
I'm
saw in
saying.
the 2006 Busch race at Watkins Glen.
Watkins Glen, great race.
But then he'd get a ticket and have his truck impounded.
Yes. Yes. Even though we're in the States.
From his own. Save the show, Eric.
Eric-
Right now I can't, but
Eric, in the truck race, though, were you excited for the flaps?
what happened with the flaps?
The new flaps that they
Yeah,
put
the
in
new
the
flap
bed of the
system.
truck? To try
Parker Kligerman said that's probably a lot of the reason why the trucks were getting so upset or loose every time that they made contact with each other. He was really trying to promote, and that's the other thing. Kligerman won the race. He also probably got the most criticism for being too aggressive on the track throughout the entire duration of the day, because of the fact that he was just hammering people throughout the
He
whole
only led
night.
3 laps too.
Yeah,
It's not like he was up front the whole race. So
and and of course they took the white flag, field wreck, and then the race ended up ending on the yellow. But Grant Enfinger was coming like a bat out of hell, so he was going to win his second Talladega race in a row. But I mean, it appears they did their job. Cody Coughlin got turned around, got up in the air after hitting Chris Fontaine. Truck landed, and I mean, I
I
guess
thought he was going through the fence.
Yeah.
It looked like it was going to be a lot worse.
Well, because he ended up on Fontaine's hood.
Yeah, and then just started lifting up as the air was picking him up.
Yeah, and Fontaine had the wind knocked out of him. I mean, it looked like he almost collapsed when he got out of the truck.
Yeah.
But he did climb into the ambulance on his own after that. But it was interesting because, especially on the restarts, you would see that new flap in the bed actually come up just because the way the air was circulating,
Right.
as it passed the cab, and it was interesting. I'll say because I don't know how much testing they really did on that. I just thought I'd get Eric excited with talking about flaps because he had a mental breakdown. How long was that? Like a year ago?
It's like the first one. It was, for the Daytona 500 qualifying last year.
Yes.
The good old days.
Yeah, when Graham was talking, the flaps.
And
have to
before
flap.
Neil was here.
Yeah, that was the good old days.
Oh, and I also want to point out that Choke Elliott strikes again. 10 to go, and he.
Okay, hold on. Are we talking about the NASCAR race?
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
the cup.
What
the cup
was
side.
that move? That was probably like a Neil Rutt move at Talladega. Like, I'm making fun of myself. That was the dumbest move I've ever witnessed at Talladega. One of them, other than wrecking the whole field coming off pit road. That was horrible.
Oh,
He
you're talking
coulda
about LePage?
Yeah, he could
on,
have
LePage.
he could have came off of turn 4 on the high side, or sucked behind the bottom car. I think it was Brad, right? I don't remember who's on the bottom. Whoever was on the bottom. Oh, it was Larson.
Yes, it was.
But instead, he was like, "Oh, let me shoot the middle when no one's on the middle with me. Where the heck are you gonna go? You're gonna shoot to the middle and wreck both cars."
I don't.
It was stupid.
I'm a Suarez fan for personal reasons, and
He would have
and for
won that race
non-personal
if they didn't
reasons.
wreck.
But I don't think that what Chase did was wrong. I think with 7 to go, Suarez left the door open enough to fit a car in there. The problem is that once Elliott decided he wanted to fit his car in there, Suarez said, "Uh-oh," and tried to fix
But
his
he
mistake,
barely moved.
and it was too late.
But with 7 to go,
I think
there's
there was-
guys from 18th that can win the race on one lap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you had more laps to go.
It was Chase's fault. I'm gonna.
I don't think I would have did that move that quick. I would have waited till at least 3 to go, maybe.
Now I want to know why there was no
You're
caution
smirking
with
over there. I'm scared.
I'm watching the
Sam's
notes
Sam's
involved.
doing stuff to the notes. Anyway, Cindric was smoking. It was like lap 2 or 3, and you saw the smoke start, and they said it was from a pinched gasket from the valve cover, so oil was coming out. And
I know that pain.
if you saw the onboard from the truck behind him, I mean, it was soaked. It was totally covered in oil, and you saw the smoke, and no caution. I was just, I mean, that's one of those things that I'm really surprised. Like
Sorry.
they're
I hit the pen on my mic. that just my heart just dropped because I got so scared of what that was.
oh, that's all I got. I was just
Okay, we need to go to break.
Yeah, I'm getting tired.
You gotta pee.
Well, with that, Talladega's in the books. Daytona will be what's up next in terms of plate racing. That won't be till next February. But
Yay.
Kansas, the elimination race this weekend for the Cup Series stars. And Talladega for the trucks served as an elimination race for those guys. And John Hunter Nemechek was able to get through. Kaz Grala and I believe Chase Briscoe were the 2 trucks that were knocked out by what happened at Talladega this past weekend. Briscoe was kind of a shocker as far as I'm concerned. But we'll see what happens when that series continues to roll forward when we hit the final few race stretch at Martinsville, Texas, and Phoenix. All off the top of my head. Because I'm
Yeah,
a
you
boss.
kind. I was like, what is he saying right now?
Yep.
I don't know how you do that.
With that, we can take a break. We come back. I have.
With that, we're gonna go to the store and buy
There's
some
something.
smoke.
There's something going on in here. With that, we're gonna take a break. We come back to the other side. We're gonna talk about some brief notes that came up in Formula One, also in IndyCar, and a whole bunch more. When we come back to the RPM podcast.
Send it.
Send it. Hey everyone, this is Eric Brennan from the RPM Podcast. If you're looking for a dependable full auto repair and preventative maintenance center, then you need to check out O'Shea's Auto Repair in Wall, New Jersey. The family man himself, Tim O'Shea, has been providing the highest quality of automotive repair since 2000 on both domestic and imported cars, trucks, and SUVs. From race cars to street cars, O'Shea's Auto Repair covers it all. For more information, visit their website at o'sheasautorepair.com. O'Shea's Auto Repair, supporter of the RPM Podcast and proud sponsor of the O'Shea Auto Repair Factory stops at Wall Stadium Speedway. Welcome back to the RPM Podcast. Josh Matthews, Neil Rutt III, Sam Dollar Jr., and I am Eric Brennan.
Are you now?
I think so.
And we're ready for part 2.
Not a lot of open wheel stuff going on. The one thing that I hinted last week in IndyCar that was kind of grinding my gears a little bit, IndyCar
Peter
actually
Griffin,
formally
take it easy.
announced the fact that they're going to be going back to Portland International Raceway. Good news is the fact they're going to be returning to the Pacific Northwest once again. Same Portland International Raceway that hosted the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series back in the day. However, it is Watkins Glen International right here on the East Coast that is going to be losing out on a race date. Reason being is that track officials and IndyCar officials were unable to reach an agreement on a proper race day after attendance had been rather poor over the last 2 years.
Time clock.
Eric Brennan just sent me a dick pic.
I most certainly did.
Does look like one.
I look cute. Leave me alone. You should post that.
You should post that.
I'll post it. I'll do it anyway.
Oh, we forgot to mention the shooting.
Where?
Talladega.
At
It's-
Redneck
it-
Jesus.
You know, not to turn this to a political thing, but whenever you say, like, we live in a day and age where we talk about.
I know
like,
you
a
thought there was
shooting.
gonna be like 50 or whatever.
No, but I mean, it's like it's everywhere now. It's like it's terrible.
Yeah.
And it actually further accentuates the point, Josh. I didn't hear about this until you told me.
Yeah,
because it's two rednecks fighting.
It was
and shooting each
stupid.
other.
Nobody died, but it was stupid. It was just a bunch of idiot rednecks that were drunk. Shocking.
They were celebrating Dale
On the
Earnhardt Jr. Day
infield.
too much.
They
Sounds like this podcast.
Sounds like
and then one guy ended up in a headlock and then managed to pull out a gun and shot the other guy in the stomach. And it was
so awkward.
I'm staying away from that. Anyway, I just
But-
thought we should mention that. And then
the shooting or the kiss.
Did you say kiss or kids?
I blew Neil a kiss.
I'm
okay?
waiting for him to hop over this table.
No, I wouldn't go that far. Well, not with the camera on.
last week I made a big boo boo and I forgot to talk about Hulkenberg's DRS got stuck open.
You know what the biggest thing I'm going to miss with NBC losing the rights to Formula One next year is listening to David Hobbs say Nico Hulkenberg. Nico Hulkenberg. That's how he says it. But out of all the drivers, he's the one that I could picture. I love the way David Hobbs talks. So I'm going to miss that.
I like Force India.
Force India?
Force India. The Formula One race team.
Team.
Force
A
India.
team that never runs out of money.
Yeah.
Even though they're almost like on the run from Indian police, federal police. It's great. Only in racing. Speaking of only in racing, there's footage going around which I did not do my homework on. This is the most poorly prepared RPM podcast on behalf of Eric Brennan that we've ever had.
You say that every week, and yet we keep coming back and doing the same crap.
But this week is like the premiere.
As you can
I did
tell,
not do
that
any
Eric's side of
homework.
the table.
Eric is fading fast.
And you would think it would be the opposite because he just worked his first national event, probably Buddy Long. You know, we met Danica Patrick's dad. Jim McMurray's dad was at the track this weekend with us. You'd think he'd actually do something to make people want to listen to him.
I got some stuff going on. It's just making me kind of forget about all the good things in life. So,
Oh dear.
but nevertheless, I had a fantastic week with the World Karting Association at GoPro Motorplex in Mooresville, North Carolina, as well as people from eKartingNews.com. Most notably, my buddy David. I don't know if
He's a great guy.
He's a great guy. He's a
he
swell
is.
man.
He is. I don't know if we want to go into this now, but we might as well because Sam kind of opened the door.
I mean, it's open wheel, so.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is.
Oh, Neil with the
Oh, look at that! Yeah.
The racing that I got to witness this past weekend at GoPro Motorplex was some of the best that I've seen all year. And I'll cycle it back to when I first discovered quarter midget racing at Little Wall. When you first see it and you realize how good the product is, you're kind of like taken back by it because you hear about it, you know, like as a stepping stone to getting into a higher form of motorsports. Or, I mean, there were some guys there. There was an IMSA competitor there, Dusty Davis, who used to run some NASCAR truck races in 2012, 2013. He was there, and he actually won one of the events on the weekend. So
He actually works at GoPro.
yeah, so it's like you see that there is a lot of talent in the karting world, but the racing was phenomenal. And I'm telling you this from a fan's perspective, because at the end of the day, everything that I do, whether it be involved in motorsports, whatever, I am still a fan. I'm still in this because I enjoy it. It makes me happy. It takes my mind off whatever's going on outside of the racing world. It's a good thing. And that's what this weekend did. And you know how you know it was refreshing? Did you ever go to work and you have a really good day at work?
No.
You look at your watch.
Oh, I love you, Neil.
You first look at your watch, you're clocking in, it's 9 a.m. Next time you look at your watch, you think that 5 minutes has passed, it's 4:30 already.
I don't know what you're talking about. I was at the track at 6:30, 5:45. There was no 7 o'clock clock in.
No, I'm using this as an example, is that the day just kind of flies by. And and especially with the guys like Sam, even Eric Graham is one of their race directors as well. Sam already mentioned Buddy Long. And there's so many other people. Jason, who's walking away after this one. Kevin, who does an exceptional job with them as well. And there's so many other people. Kelly in scoring. Again, the list just goes on. And then there's people they pick up on the weekend. It just kind of helps out with corner work and just kind of radio.
I could be your corner worker.
So
I got you.
You could.
Not a very good.
Thanks.
It's a seamless, flawless operation, which is just it was cool to be a part of, and hopefully I have the opportunity to do it again. But man, the racing was incredible. I would pay to watch that again.
A lot of people undermined, in all seriousness, the talent and the pure racing that's involved when it comes to go-karting. You really can't find that anywhere else in the racing community.
All the great open wheel drivers came from karting. When they were little, like Lewis Hamilton, Vettel, and all of them, they started in this kind of stuff. Obviously, it's not WK. It's wherever they're from, whatever divisions they have. They always do. What was that? The Tony karts, right, or something like that. That's a big name out there.
Yeah, we have Tony karts, Patrick karts.
They were sponsored drivers for them. And that's how they became who they are now.
But karting, it also is. You have, different divisions, maybe different names, but they're still very similar across, the world.
Yeah.
It's not where, you have, basically you think of, NASCAR for America, and then you think of open wheel racing, like F1, that goes, globally, but, a lot of European stuff and things like that. The Australian V8 supercars, but karting covers everything.
Everywhere.
So, it is a... I think a lot more people can relate to it, but it's surprising how many people still don't even know about it.
And that's the thing for me is, when we first started this show, the RPM podcast,
if you don't know what our name is, you've been here for about 70-something episodes.
Well, now you know. So when we first started the show, I was a little bit judgmental towards karting, about the fact that it was a minute, it made up a small space of the racing spectrum. I could not have been more wrong. I'm going to eat my words right here, live on the RPM podcast, in the form of a liquid beverage, because I don't believe that. I'm telling you, I was blown away. And I'm not just saying this because I had a chance to work with them. I'm telling you, even if I hated what I did on the weekend, which I didn't, it was really the racing itself. I would pay to watch that because you watch a cup race on Sunday and you don't get what I got 9 times on Saturday and 8 times on Sunday. The racing was so good.
Hi.
I had 6 races on Saturday come down to the last corner of the last lap, and I'm pretty sure that I had 7 of 9 that were decided on the last lap, not just last corner, but the last lap.
Right.
And then same thing on Sunday. I think it was 6 of 8 that were decided on the last lap. It's just you can't get that anywhere else. It was phenomenal, and all the drivers, and they're not just all young upcoming males. There's some really good female racers in WKA.
We have a lot of great female talent coming up in the World Karting Association.
Like Annie Rule is one of them, and then also to make everything even better, they raffled off a Tolleton generator at the end of the weekend, and the first name that we called it 3 times. The person wasn't there. Annie happened to be sitting beside of me, and she can't be, Sam, I don't know, what is she, 10, 11, 12 years old, Annie Rule? And I was like, Annie, you're sitting here, pull out another name. Out of all the names that were in the hat, which is pretty much every competitor on the weekend, which totaled over 120, 30, 40 people, she pulls out her own name. And I'm like, that, and that plus she won, I think, the
you don't get
for
it.
Her class. It's like she just had the perfect weekend. She's like, "Hey, it's me!" And that's another thing is you get the satisfaction of watching the kids have so much fun doing what they do on the weekend. being appreciative of everything they have there. The vast majority of them, you know, and it's a whole new experience. It's not like what you're accustomed to seeing at Wall, and I love what I do at my Saturday night short track, but.
You know, people don't realize, especially. I mean, I know we're talking about this a little too long, but
No,
as
we're
a,
not.
as
We
an
have enough to talk about.
oh well, as an official end of it, you know, at Wall you get all the FUs. Hey man, you know what's this? Pushing, shoving. You know, when these guys disagree with you at the World Karting Association, they'll come up and they'll try to talk it over. They'll write down. They'll try to discuss.
Well, although, and I will say this because I'm not fully invested. I had one gentleman come up to me screaming because he didn't like a call that was made. And thank God I was mid-sentence because I was in no place to have any discussion with somebody who was talking about
Yeah,
the way
so
this
Eric
guy
Brennan
was.
said it right to me.
So like as I had the microphone in my hand, I'm pointing at Sam, you know, because he's like right over there. He's like 10 feet away from me. But oh my God, if I wasn't speaking, there was a large part of me that wanted to ask, like, who in the hell do you think you're talking to like that? Because he's screaming at
I'm
me.
Eric Brennan from Staten Island.
Like that I'm the reason for all the bad things in this world. Like screaming. Like
I don't have a
like
Staten Island accent. I'm sorry.
and that's, I mean, you do get that. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, if you want to talk pros and cons and you want us to be realists on the RPM podcast, which we're going to do, like, it's no different than Little League, you know?
Sorry.
You have like the parents who get it, who are there to have fun, who are there to give their kids an experience. And then you have a couple of people who just, you know, they're those old school Little League, you know, mom and dads who get a little bit too riled up on behalf of their kid.
Well, there was that karting like reality show,
Right, yeah.
And
Oh, I used
they
to
were
watch that.
And
most
Sam, I
of
believe
them-
that's based off of Scusa, right? Is that what the reality series is based off
There
of?
was
I
a
know it's
lot
out
of
west.
Italian American, you know, New York type
Moms.
well, I was gonna say the dads, and they would scream.
yeah,
they would scream at their kids. They would scream at each other. And, oh my God, it was ridiculous.
That's mostly for the TV. But if you're
I'm
interested
sure.
in racing with us, worldkarting.com, we'd love to have you. We're looking, you know, we're expanding. Our cart numbers are coming up every race event. We had nearly 150 carts. We give away free tires. You know, the World Karting Association is definitely on the up and up, and I'm proud to be part of it. Check it out, worldkarting.com. We race at Daytona December 27th to the 30th, and we're coming to New Jersey July 13th to the 15th. So come on out. Margay
Where's
has a
that?
lot of carts you can rent.
Wait, what track's that?
Millville. We're going to Millville.
Oh,
I
it's a
might have
fun
to
place.
drop some money to rent a cart.
Yeah.
How many?
Sign me
divisions-
up, Sam. Let's go.
Sam. How many divisions do you guys run on average? Like one of those.
We
events?
run 9 series, different carts and stuff. Most of them just broken up in different classes.
Okay.
From Sportsman, you know, Swift
Uh-oh.
and Miami, all that stuff.
Sportsman karting. Here we go.
Did the Sportsman live up to the name?
No, they actually put on a great race.
Okay.
You know what happens is these kids know their limits and they don't care, and they put on some of the best racing that you'll ever see in the world. And like I said, worldkarting.com, we're always looking for more people to come on out and race with us. We try to provide the most fair and balanced racing division out there, and I think we do a pretty damn good job at it.
All right. I like it. I want to get involved. I might come down to Millville.
And they have great
I'll definitely go
sweatshirts.
They do.
Great. Oh my God.
I'm pissed Eric didn't get me one.
Coda for Formula One, Circuit of the Americas.
This week, a lot of American influence in terms of the journalistic approach to Formula One racing
Oh,
this
is that
weekend.
because of Liberty Media, or is it?
No, like
just because we're
guys
gonna-
like Jeff Gluck are going down there,
Okay.
and you know, and a lot of other things that are going on. The biggest thing is, can't remember his first name. Hartley. I want to say Garrett. Brandon Hartley.
Okay.
Is going to be making a start for Toro Rosso, and that's kind of put Danny Kvyat on a position where he's now not sure what he's doing next year. And Hartley was apparently rumored to be the replacement for Tony Kanaan at Chip Ganassi in IndyCar. But I'm assuming if this Formula One door remains open, he's going to go that route.
Right.
You know, because Hartley's become a very good, successful World Endurance Car Championship sports car driver. And I'm excited to see what he has in the Formula One ranks this weekend.
Wasn't there a big article that came out about the funding and how it's in? I forget what team it was. They actually had the Formula One driver who ended up not driving, but I think he was just doing testing for them. Was actually footing part of the bill.
It sounds like the vast majority
I think
of Formula One right now.
It's ridiculous because I mean I know IndyCar has issues with purses and you know the money end of it, but I thought Formula One. I mean I know it's ridiculously expensive to run a team.
Yeah.
But I thought that they had, more coming in on the sponsor end. Especially Red Bull just dumping money
I
into their
thought
team.
Toro was ending their Formula One contract.
They were leaving.
They didn't know. I thought they were leaving the sport.
No,
That's what I thought.
Who's this?
Toro Rosso.
No, they just made a deal with Honda for next season.
Yeah.
They're here
Proves how
to
much
stay.
I watch.
Also, it was announced that Fernando Alonso will, in fact, be returning to McLaren next season amid all the speculation and the poor year that he had.
Best announcement video ever.
I didn't see it.
Oh, well, they have all the McLaren guys trying to speak Spanish. And at the end, you see McLaren wink, and he's like, "I'll be back," or something like that.
Good.
I was
That-
wondering
that's
what
good
that
stuff.
was. I kind of skipped it.
No word on Massa yet.
No.
Who
That's
cares? He retired last year.
Although Robert Kubica completed another test for what is this? Oh,
what are you doing?
He's playing sounds too. I think I'm next.
and I got a email that's something I ordered shipped, so it distracted me.
Okay.
Sorry.
And do you forget what you were just saying?
Yep.
Yep.
Gone.
Okay.
All right,
On
so-
to the next
all right,
part.
something we did want to talk about is Formula E going to be a threat to F1 in the next 5 years. This was
you know
this
what?
was a fun
My phone
post,
died.
and I'm just curious. What do you guys think? Is Formula E going to be a threat for the fan base of F1?
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, I'm with Eric.
Because the racing product is better. The talent is better. I mean, I honestly, I feel like that if you look at the Formula One grid, half the field of 11 drivers or whatever are there purely on the fact of either sponsorship reputation or just they're paying their own way. You look at the Formula E fields, all 24, 26 competitors are talented. I mean, all
I
of
agree.
them.
and it's close racing too. It's
Yeah.
not strung out.
And the concept is good, and that's and the biggest thing that I heard Robin Miller and Marshall Pruitt talk about in their IndyCar podcast about a month ago, in comparing Formula E to IndyCar, where IndyCar only has two manufacturers right now, Chevy and Honda. They said, why are all the manufacturers flocking to Formula E? Because there they could create and they could engineer and they could be innovative. Whereas in IndyCar, it's a spec series. They all run the same bodywork, the same this, the same that. The engine rules are a fine line that you have to cross in order to be competitive at all. Whereas in Formula E, you have this open avenue, this open ground to create a blueprint of whatever you want to create this type of electrical engineering or this electrical type of concept. And it's enticing all the manufacturers to say, hey, let's go try a few things over at Formula E and let's have some fun with it. And with all that automotive manufactured interest, you're going to entice mass numbers of people in a very quick time or a very short amount of time. And I think that's what's going to allow them to compete with Formula One in terms of viewership numbers.
I agree because there's something that right off the bat, because a lot of people complain about the sound of Formula E because it sounds like a little RC car.
To me, it reminds me of the dentist chair. And that freaks me out.
Okay, now I'm not saying you have to like that, and I don't think that you should end up trying to put in speakers to make it sound like a V8's in there or something like that. But
Car radios just to make
But
it
if
sound
you-
like a muscle car.
yes,
Sounds like a root canal.
What was that?
If I'm going to have one bitch about Formula E, it's sound. I mean, it's...
okay, but now within that, if you there's videos and you can watch different teams, different manufacturers as they would accelerate away, and they
saw it.
sound different.
Yeah.
It's
Every
amazing.
car sounded different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually really surprising that because is it the gears? Is it the motor type? It's kind of amazing that you can have that much of a difference with something that ends up being such a close racing product.
Yeah.
I think
And I think that's what's turning all the manufacturers on. It's like, hey, we have a
Who could
bigger
make it a louder
room.
electric car?
Yeah, well, we have more room to do what we want versus what the series wants over
Right.
here. So let's take our ball and go on that side of the field.
the only thing is there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be diehard, Formula One fans and be like, nope, this is the best, and without even necessarily having anything else to back it up, because what are you going to say? You can't say the racing product is better than Formula One. It's not. But it's the same reason. Now, a lot of people stick with the modifieds. Like, got to stay for the modifieds. And they can be the most boring racing. Now, I'm not saying they always are, but, they don't necessarily always provide the best action for
Sometimes
quite a long
it's strung
time.
out.
The factory stocks were the most competitive and fun division to watch, but everybody had to stay for the modifieds. Why? Because they're the most powerful, they're the fastest, and it's just BS reasons. You're not talking about racing product or enjoyment. You're just, it's why does everybody go to the Cup Series race instead of the Truck Series?
I don't know. I'd rather go to a truck race.
I think that
I love the trucks.
they're more fun to watch.
Yeah,
but everybody wants to. I want to see Junior. It's ridiculous.
It's a battle of prestige, which is the
Yeah.
only avenue which I think Formula E is at risk of losing out on in terms of popularity.
You know, it's funny if Nick Renda was here, he'd tell you that Formula E is hurting the Formula One brand it has and everything about that prestigious feel it has.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's where I think Formula One has the edge for quite some time, is the fact that it is still the most prestigious, illustrious, and high class level of motor racing that we have in the world.
Yeah, I saw a video of their pit paddocks.
Yeah.
You would call it. That's insane.
Yeah,
like
Blue flag.
like it looks like a garage, and then you're just like you walk in, and then you go behind the garage, and it's like a big RV, and you're like, whoa, what is this?
Everything's like a science center for those cars. It's unbelievable.
I'm into it. Plus, the other thing, I think Robo Race is going to bring in a lot of manufacturers as well, because you see all these cars that are coming in with the automatic brake, when they sense that you're going to hit something.
Right.
And I think I forget what manufacturer it was. There was just a commercial I saw a day or two ago where they're now introducing not just the automatic braking but active steering control too, where it will try to steer you away from it. Like it's starting.
No, I don't need that.
It's going to encounter some resistance, but here's the thing: it's small steps, and you're heading towards these self-driving cars. That's just the next step.
Next is RoboCops.
All right. Well.
Can we go to local?
I have nothing to say.
We got Eric singing. Let's go to local.
Yeah.
Eric, talk your talk.
Nick Rendo, where the hell are you?
Yeah.
I need Nick Rendo.
I still never met him.
He's on the milk carton. He's missing.
I put him in another intro, and he doesn't show up. He doesn't like me.
He loves you.
Back to the local stuff. Scott Riggleman, factory stock driver, was up at Hudson Speedway in New Hampshire. Multiple-time factory stock champion.
This year's champion.
He's raced the Arts Truck Series back in the day.
Modified.
His old truck actually became a monster truck, which was
really?
fun. Yeah, it was sitting up in Middletown for quite a while. Yeah, I used to pass it all the time. It was really cool. The guy's raced a lot of stuff. He got to do the driving experience down at Daytona. I remember he shared the video of that. That was he said he'd recommend it to anybody. I just I don't want to go to Florida. But
touché.
Anyway, it looked like he was having a decent run up there, and he's raced there before, I believe. I think we shared the video on our Facebook page, but he got just a little too wide coming off the turn. I don't know if he got help or not. But
it looks like there's no grip on that track at all. It kind of just looked like it was a normal cold track, just off the corner sliding. Thinner tires.
It looked like it was just a little loose. From
just
where I
carried
could
so
see.
much momentum. Well, he was battling side by side with someone, so he might have just carried so much momentum in the corner, trying to outdo that guy, and just got up.
Yeah, he
got up into the tires.
Yeah, the tires. It hooked it, flipped it. They're still trying to figure out how many times he rolled. I think it was at least 5. But they managed to find his GoPro, thankfully. And more importantly, he's okay. And I think his post was said, "I've been racing for the first time in 28 years." He flipped for the first time. So yeah, it was a scary moment, but glad to hear he's okay.
It's fun to watch Scott get the opportunity to travel around and try to broaden his racing horizons, despite the fact that he's already had a rather, I don't want to use this word twice in 2 segments, but illustrious racing resume.
Mm-hmm.
You just mentioned all the things that Scott's been able to do and accomplish, and Neil, you cited the fact that he's won another factory stock championship at Wall this year. But all that aside, you don't expect something like that to happen to Scott, and I don't put the wreck or the blame for the wreck on him.
It's just a racing. If we can't see the bottom, like the bottom left of the video.
Right.
You don't know if someone hit him.
Yeah.
We could say, oh yeah, the guy punted him. You could be wrong, you know.
But either way, when you hear of something of that magnitude taking place, you don't expect it to be somebody as good as Scott is at what he does.
Right.
That aside, after seeing the picture of the car upside down, after seeing the GoPro footage, which you alluded to, Josh, I am super thankful that Scott is okay.
Yeah, he went right through trees and
because once you leave the vicinity of the track property grounds, you are no longer at the mercy of the safety equipment that is the racetrack.
Right.
I mean, you might as well take one of these purpose-built stock cars and drive it off the Garden State Parkway at that point. It's no
That
different.
is not a good idea.
Well, and luckily the trees hit where they did, and Scott escaped serious injury because it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
A lot worse, and I'm glad that it wasn't.
I'm surprised they don't have full walls around that track yet, but it's a different state. Different rules,
I used to love Berlin Raceway out in the the central northern United States, and they had no backstretch wall, and you would see the cars who would run wide off turn number 2 just kind of like drop off the surface and then just but they had all this paved grass where if you ran wide, you had like forever to be able to figure it out.
Right.
This track did. They had
Actually,
tire wall.
Paul
and then
Hartwig
trees.
Jr. did that at Bridgeport on the quarter mile track. He went off, and then you see him like Dukes of Hazzard it back onto the track.
I believe it. If anybody's gonna do it, it's Paul.
Good times. I had a lot of fun down there. But yeah, no. I again glad Scott's okay. It was certainly a wild ride. And then hoping to see him at the Spooky race coming up this weekend, right?
Yes. This Saturday at Wall Stadium Speedway will be the annual Spooky Spectacular, which I was thinking about on the car ride here. Spooky has a couple of purposes. One, it's to try to cater to those who just absolutely hate sitting at home on Saturdays after the regular season ends. But the other is to kind of offer up a little bit of an appetizer or a test and tune portion for the Turkey Derby. Mm-hmm. For the handful of outsiders who want to come and be involved, that's their chance to come in, get their stuff right, be ready. And even though there's 2 practice sessions for Turkey Derby, you can kind of use that racing environment of Spooky to get ready for it.
Yeah.
So it'll be, and plus the track and the Krause family do all these amazing things to try to generate interest and get more people to go. Among those, Haunted Carnivals, and they'll have 6 races altogether. The Carnival games are free, which is something which was hugely popular throughout the regular season. I mean, a huge deal. And they'll have a deal where you could, huge. And they'll have a deal where you could redeem your prize tickets for prizes at the gazebo. And all of which is included with the price of admission. Modifieds will be running for 75 laps, $3,000 to win.
Put them last.
And
put them. No, I'm being serious. Keep the fans there for the whole entire night.
Oh, they probably will. And they were also slated for an earlier start time, which is something else to be noted.
Yeah.
Yes, grandstands will open at 2 p.m. and the features will start at 4. On a personal note, not saying anything, please don't fire me. I think the features should start even earlier than that. My opinion.
No.
Why? No, I think
I like night races.
I do too, but
just like I don't like Wednesday races, but I like night races.
But once you break the rhythm,
you don't like anything.
I don't like anything.
In my opinion, once you break the rhythm of regular season racing, you should favor the afternoon so that people could go home and enjoy the rest of their Saturday night and do whatever they want.
But people work on Saturdays,
so
you take the chance of not having many people in the stands.
Yeah,
that's
starting early. I would say features at 5. Not 4, even though it's an hour difference.
We've had an extremely
like
warm October so far. And, some people might enjoy that sun being down.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I like 4 o'clock. Plus, the way the track's been going for the past year or two, they've been getting so much better and so much faster getting the wrecks in.
The wrecks in?
Yeah,
Yep.
Getting the guardrail fixed after the sportsmen tear it down. Getting the races in is what I meant to say. And getting out at a surprisingly early time. So I think
let's say, I mean, even if you start at 4, I'd still expect to be done by 8.
Oh, we'll still be out late.
Yeah.
We skipped you, though. Finish the schedule. We only said modifieds. We skipped it.
There'll be Twin Factory stock races. Also, Ledger cars will be in action for a regular feature, Sportsman as well. And the 4-cylinders were added to the docket after their car count exploded. 4-cylinders were left off the schedule for a couple of years. Now they're back on it due to the fact that there was a lot of interest in terms of competition. So it's going to be an incredible race. And I think they hit the nail on the head. 75 laps for the modifieds, not too crazy. Last year they went with a twin race format, which was thrilling. But you have just one show, one shot, get it done. And the twin race for the factories, we were pulling 20 cars all year. I mean, I expect we'll be right around that same number. So
They need to pie the drivers who win.
by that, what
That'd
do
be
you
something
mean?
funny to do.
I'm not familiar with that term. What does that mean, Neil?
Just take a pie and smash the winner in the face.
Oh, okay. I
What
thought.
the-
I didn't
What
know
was so different about that?
I didn't know if it was like a.
Josh won, bang, smash in the face.
I
That's
didn't
all
know
you
if it
got to
was
do.
like a mathematical
Well, at least I'm
handicapping
safe.
formula or something. Like I wasn't sure. I'm a noob to that.
I'm a noob.
Yeah.
Oh God.
noob.
Newbie.
All right. So I think that covers all the local
I think
stuff.
Spooky would be good.
I'm excited.
Pumped.
It's
Pumped.
gonna be
I
a
think
good
it's a
show.
go. I don't.
Pumped. It's
Yeah,
11-11.
I think
jealous.
Make a wish,
Oh,
everybody.
Shut up.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I didn't
I
go
did-
last year.
My wish is that I don't have to deal with crap like I've been the last 24 hours.
All right. So
Well, don't worry, Saturday you won't have to.
we had a little something. Well, I thought of something interesting, something a little different, something a little fun. I hope. We're gonna do some like fall. It's it's October. It's mid-October. I got our
Yay,
lights.
October.
Everybody's doing the Halloween decorations and all that. And I thought
Eric's got
it'd be
his
fun to
mask
think
on.
of. Think of.
Oh, sorry.
So messed up. I gotta shave.
I thought it would be fun to think of some fall themed snacks and candies and such that we could associate to different drivers.
Josh had this idea for quite some time. He's really excited about it.
We've been trying to do it for the past, like, 3
It's
weeks.
just something to bring out a little bit of stupidity and personality on our part, and it's a pretty
Do
good
they
idea.
watch our show?
So, well,
Are you gonna bleep us if we say something naughty, Josh?
Yes.
you're already 2 for 2, Sam. So you might as well just keep going. You know,
2? I
I've
only
had
one.
I've had 8
No, he said
beers,
so.
and I'm
You
not
might have
even
to
there
watch.
yet.
You might have to watch this over again.
Oh man, there goes my night.
All right.
Anyway, so,
Okay, let's start.
so I was thinking I'm going to start it right off right
I'm
here.
very loud this episode. I don't know how I feel about it.
Nah,
okay.
you're comfortable, and I love it.
I was going to start with hot chocolate. Who doesn't love hot chocolate in the fall, right?
What kind of hot chocolate are we talking about?
Well, all I know is it's going to be Bubba Wallace.
What?
Well, and
I
also
didn't have that.
unrelated, but Adam Stern of the Sports Business Journal said that even though it is not done, industry insiders are saying that it is like 100% certain that Bubba Wallace will be signing with Rich Petty Motorsports.
Yay.
Who the sponsor will be, who is footing the bill.
Hot chocolate.
Who
Who
knows?
makes hot chocolate?
Yes.
Sponsored Bubba
Swiss Miss.
Wallace.
Smith. So he should start tweeting
Swiss
them.
Miss.
He should forget Domino's, start tweeting them, or Nestle. Get Nesquik
You
back
are
in
the
car.
hot chocolate of NASCAR. Get sponsored
Neil, who you got?
for hot chocolate.
Well, anything. Pick
I
something.
have for candy corn. I have Jeff Gordon
Why?
because he's like a baby. He's like
Still?
I don't like Jeff.
He's been like divorced. And,
I don't, and he's had a gay scandal for the past like 20 years of his racing career. Okay,
Oh,
he's a candy corn.
God.
I don't like him. He's always had colorful cars. I don't like him. I never liked Jeff Gordon. I don't care. I don't care. Sorry, guys. Sorry
Oh
for
my
the
God.
that community if I offended you. But
Sam?
oh well. Case dismissed.
Yeah, this show is racist and homophobic.
This is why I
Racist,
sit. This is why I sit
sexist.
in the corner because I just put my head down. And
It's one thing to be drunk and do the
I'm
show,
sorry.
but once you start going down that road, I can't save it.
No,
Sam,
Bubba
this is
Wallace,
why it's
I
the
did
end of
not-
our show.
I didn't call Bubba Wallace hot chocolate, so if you have any jobs, Bubba, hit me up. Pumpkin spice latte has to be Paul Hartwig Jr.
I got
What?
Eric.
All
I got Eric Brennan for that one.
Wait,
You know
Sam,
what's
why?
funny?
Because of his red hair and pumpkin's orange, and I don't know.
And he's got a
He's
spice to him.
No. See, pumpkin spice latte is Lewis Hamilton. Because it's
I swear to God, Josh, you just took the words right out of my mouth. That's who I was thinking, 100%.
Think of the way he dresses and everything, like all Nick Rendo-ish.
I'm telling you, I'm not even kidding. From
That's
his
funny.
mouth to God's ears, that was where I was going with that.
fine.
is it-
Well, next.
Hold
That
on.
is the quote unquote basic B,
Yeah.
drink.
If we're talking about
Yeah.
Bubba Wallace, I got him for caramel apple because he's like that and that. No.
I think poverty weight has to be
Wait,
Carl
Poverty
Long.
wads. Poverty wads.
It's wide.
Wads, wads, whatever.
did you say Carl Long?
Do you know what poverty? Sam, do you know what poverty wads are?
No idea.
Oh,
They were like There's like peanut butter chews that are in that like wax paper.
Oh, this
Like
is what
the-
we were fighting
Yeah,
about.
yeah, the Mary Jane, whatever.
yeah.
It
But
sounds like toilet paper that poor people throw out. Like it's,
well, that's why they're called poverty wads. It's when you go into the bad neighborhoods, that's what you get. And
Carl Long.
everybody's gotten them at some point.
Carl Long.
I have Norm Benning
For
All right,
those,
same
because he barely makes it into because of money.
Yeah.
Poverty
He barely
wad.
makes it into your mouth, just like that candy. I'm good this episode. I got you. I got what I got? I got Good and Plenty's. I have Sam Ballard because they're pink and because his drink that he was drinking.
Okay.
He looked a little fruity.
See, for me, good and plenty, so I got to go with Neil at the third because it seems like that if we just throw you in a car, you're good and plenty enough to be able to get it done, just like you did in
Thanks.
the O'Shea 55.
Yeah. Oh wait.
That's what
By the
Eric
way,
Brennan wishes he wasn't
check
in
me
bed.
out at Wall Stadium in the 55 this weekend.
I mean,
Spoiler
dude,
alert.
first time you're in that car, you got fifth. I mean,
know,
it's like
from 12th.
Forget the fact there were 22
More
cars.
importantly, he survived.
Yeah, but it's like, oh, I haven't done this in a year and a half. Who cares? It just gets done. Good and plenty.
I like the way this is going. Let's keep going with this.
Sour Patch Kids. I have Verstappen because he
Looks like a Sour Patch Kid.
He's such a d-bag, but then you end up liking him because he
'Cause he can
does these
drive.
amazing moves and actually does really well. And
No, you see, I disagree with you. He should be Skittles because Skittles are pretty good until you eat the green ones and you're like, ew, this is freaking nasty.
Yeah, to steal a line from Garfield, whoever thought it was a good idea to change the green Skittles to green apples should be drug out into the street and shot.
No, they should be
don't
Bring him to
Greenfield
Talladega. Would be good.
Yeah.
you don't like green apple?
Yes.
No, the
Yes,
line
Neil.
was much better.
America.
I'm a
F
Skittles
yeah.
aficionado.
All right, Eric, who else you got?
Oh man, you took the Lewis Hamilton pumpkin spice latte right
sorry.
out of
That's
the
funny.
mouth. Like our brains were working
Hey,
together. on that
I have
one.
a question.
Yeah.
No.
What the freak is pumpkin soup?
I don't know,
Oh.
but apparently it's a thing. I've never
didn't
tried.
write that
I wouldn't.
down
I'm
either.
not sure I'd even try it.
To all our listeners out there, if you have any idea what pumpkin soup is,
Don't try
let
it.
me know.
It sounds like the pumpkins that get run over by the tractor out in the field.
You know what pumpkin soup is? Follow Paul Hartwig into the bathroom. You'll find out what pumpkin soup is. Okay, cranberry sauce. Danica Patrick.
Why?
Because no one likes her.
Oh my God.
I'm going nowhere in
now on the
NASCAR,
show.
okay? Nowhere in NASCAR I could say those things.
All right,
Neil is sexist, homophobic, racist.
I'm high in life. It's all right.
So for apple cider, I had Dale Jr. because I mean it's now I don't believe he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Overrated and sucks.
No,
we
it's
need to
kind
do
of a
these every
classic.
month, okay?
It's classic, and I don't think really anybody hates it except for Sam, apparently.
I don't like Junior. I don't like Junior and Jeff Gordon.
Do you hate him though?
I wouldn't say.
No,
I don't.
Never mind. I'm
I'm not
gonna-
his. I'm not like I'm not part of Redneck Nation.
All right.
Or
I don't know.
Josh just keep me off something. In terms of pumpkin pie, I'd have to say Jimmy Johnson because you can never fail with it at Thanksgiving dinner.
I had Carl Edwards.
You know, I mean, it's
I
it's
miss
a sure
Carl
thing.
Edwards.
You know, people are going to enjoy it. You know, people are going to eat it. You know, it's going to be there when you need to count on it. So you got to go with Jimmy Johnson for pumpkin pie.
That's true. What else do we have? Oh, this is a good
Sam?
segment.
Peanuts. I'd have to say Nick Rendo.
No, my God, you're going to kill the poor kid.
I mean, it's like he's not here anyway. So I mean, I miss Nick Rendo.
That's probably what happened. Is
He ate too many peanuts.
yeah,
I miss you, Nick.
I should send him
Nick,
a
come
text.
back. I'm sorry, Nick. I'm
I
sorry.
love, I love that kid. Like, and I knew he had a really bad peanut allergy. So like, if I wanted, to eat,
Oh,
like,
that's why? Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry.
So if I want to eat like a protein bar or something, I'd
well.
be like, hey Nick, are you coming tonight or not? You got to give me an honest answer.
Hey,
He's like,
Eric,
"Ah."
can you read the one underneath Peanuts?
So
Wait, where is
Don't
Read it.
Don't.
wait, I don't see. Oh no, the answer is no. I cannot read that because
You don't see it?
I see it. I certainly see
I'll
it.
make it bigger for you.
No, I can definitely read it perfectly. But the problem is, I don't think that's a fall snack. I think that's a year long snack for some people.
Yeah.
So
A foot
Junior
long
Mints,
snack.
I have to go with Stephen Reed because he's good, but he's also got that like spice to him.
What the hell? Are
Not
you
in like a
talking about?
weird like, you know what I mean. Like he's a good race car driver. Junior Mints are really good, but then again, he also has that fire, and Mints is spicy, so he's also got that
Mint
like.
is spicy.
Well, yes. If you eat too many of mints, you get that spice.
I can't talk to Eric Brennan about this because like I don't. He eats like hot dogs and like what?
With no
what-
buns.
I haven't had a hot dog in a while. In fact, I'm due for one.
Are you going to
And
King of the
cotton
Green?
candy.
No, I have to. I'm a groomsman. And, all right.
Oh yeah, I remember. You
Okay.
said
All right,
that.
let's not go
No,
down that
yeah,
rabbit
we'll talk
hole.
about it off air.
I
I don't know.
Apple
I
pie.
like Steve.
Going to a gun range.
Sam, apple pie. Anything?
Hands up, don't
Apple
shoot.
pie.
Shoot myself.
I would have to say Brad Keselowski because apple pie is pretty American, and I think Brad Keselowski is the most American driver we
And it
have right now.
flows
in the
out just
sport.
like his teeth do.
Oh my God. Neil's on fire today.
Eric, apple pie. Nothing.
My phone's dead.
I got nothing. Absolutely
So
nothing.
I had Danica for apple pie.
No, cranberry sauce.
No,
I'm telling you.
no, all right, one. Have you seen some of the modeling like bikini photos that she's had?
No.
I think she's actually pretty
I
good
don't-
looking, and all I could think of was that
I don't
bit
like
from American Pie.
Oh my god! Oh, that's a great movie. Any of our listeners out
It's
there,
not that.
who-
It's a terrible movie, but I just.
any of our listeners out there who have no morals and no self-respect, you need to watch that movie. That's a great movie.
Thank God I drank for this episode. Like, I'm so happy. This is the first RPM podcast in a year and a half that I have half a load on. This is so worth it.
Well, there's got to be more candy.
Necco wafers.
I don't know what
The
those
original
are.
candy wafer.
Sam, Necco wafers.
I thought of Joe Nemechek because it looks like his freaking last name. I have no idea.
I thought of Joe Nemechek because it looked like his old Bell South car with all those little colored lines and stuff. That's how they look in the wrapping paper.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
I had Chase Elliott because they're it looks.
They're bland
Piece
and
of choke on?
bland, inconsistent, and they never get the job
What's
done.
like-
Yes, thank you.
You eat them, you're still hungry.
What's like the
Kinda like
candy that
Eric
you like
Brennan
can
in bed.
throw out, like that no one
Ooh.
wants, and you just throw it out?
Popcorn balls.
That's Kyle Petty.
What is it? Wait, what is a popcorn ball?
You never had. It's think of like a Rice
It's popcorn
Krispies.
in ball form. Just eat it.
Think of a big ball in your mouth, but minus the two that you had last night, Eric Brennan.
Oh!
That was rough. All right, think of like a Rice Krispies treat, and but replace the Rice Krispies with popcorn. Oh my God, this is gone.
Where'd that go to Kyle Petty to balls in your mouth? Like, we need a blooper reel after this one.
I need to find that South Park clip of Chef.
Hey. I think Goldfish should be who smiles all the time in the garage. Come on, guys.
Joey Logano.
Clint Boyer.
No. Guys, it's Kimi Räikkönen.
Goldfish.
The snack that smiles back. Kimi Räikkönen. Jeez.
I think we're losing. Oh my God.
What about snow caps?
Oh, I love snow caps.
Michael Schumacher.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm not sharing this episode. This is not going to help me in my career at all. I'm drunk. We're all messed up. It's great. Oh my God.
Snow caps. Michael Schumacher.
I don't know.
Are we done with this sharing
No.
our diabetic stories?
I think we're just going on and recording it, but about like 20 minutes of this is going to get cut, most likely.
Yeah.
Hopefully not that much. We're only we're only about 10 minutes over. So on that note, what have we learned today, Eric?
Oh my God. I really need to spend more time on a production
Away
meeting.
from a bar.
And that too.
Thank you, Neil.
Man, I need to be like this every week.
I'm having a lot of fun right now.
That's what I'm
Have
saying.
you learned anything, Eric?
He can't
No.
remember it.
Oh my God. Drugs are bad.
Buckle your seatbelt. Don't touch one of your eyes.
I thought he said something else.
It like carried over into it, so it just sounded perfect.
Oh my God, that sounded like something else. Anyway, Sam, what have you learned today?
I learned that Neil Rutt's gag reflex only works on pens.
Just because I'm playing with, how do you? Oh, okay, never mind.
How does he even see that?
Camera here. Anyway, Neil, what have you learned?
That Sam is the white R. Kelly. And Eric finally stopped his eye sign off thing that he does. That really annoyed me.
Oh,
His little flick of his freaking
I
eyeball.
probably would have did it again if you didn't mention it now.
I was waiting.
Wait a minute, isn't R. Kelly white anyway?
I'm not getting into that because apparently
No.
I'm racist. So
Oh
let's
my
go to
God.
Josh. Josh, what did you learn today?
I learned how to pronounce asked.
Thank you.
Asked.
Like
And
Aston Martin.
I learned that NASCAR is regulating nuts.
Oh my God.
Slow nuts.
Go nuts. These nuts.
Kyle Petty likes popcorn balls.
What's the one candy you throw away? Popcorn balls. That's Kyle Petty.
Oh my god.
With his little,
I wasn't gonna say
with his little mullet ponytail that he's got. Just throw that away, please.
I'm telling you, if you edit this thing right, some of this stuff is Hall of Fame. I mean, like
Wait, which is not Kyle Petty worthy.
Oh, or Dale Jr.
Or Dale
but
Jr.
some of it is like restraining order bad.
You know, I
It's okay.
disagree. I think Kyle Petty is the marshmallows and Swiss Miss. When you pour it in, you're like, "What? Who eats this crap?" Because it gets all gooey and mushy and worthless.
Oh, I thought it was more like where did they go? Because by the time the marshmallows just disappear.
Oh, like Kyle Petty's racing career.
Thank you.
Oh,
We just bashed Kyle Petty. This is awesome. I love this show.
He's probably one of the nicest guys.
Who cares? He's got a stupid ponytail.
Well, I know somebody. One of your good buddies had a ponytail for a very long
it's not
time.
a ponytail. It's a rat tail. That's what we called it. Get it right.
All right, whatever.
Eric,
Anyway,
end the show. End
yeah.
the show.
Eric, end
Yeah.
it, please, because Neil's
Call
about
it.
to get racist and sexist and everything. Let's go.
On behalf of Sam Ballard Jr., Neil Roth III, Josh Matthews, Sam Adams, I'm Eric Brennan. I want to wish you all a safe
Take
ride
your pen.
home. Remember, don't drink and drive, kids.
Call an
And
Uber.
we'll
Call
see-
an Uber. Let's go.
and
We
we'll
need
see-
Uber to sponsor us.
And no matter what you're going through in your life, it gets better. Now, we'll see you next time on the RPM podcast, and we will see you at Wall. Good
And
night,
don't be a
everybody.
Kyle Petty. Let's
Please
go.
come back.
Don't
go
be a
home.
Kyle Petty.